Hi, this is Shadi, and today we're going to be discussing Oda Sensei and Rickson Gracie. This video, before I say anything and before you go down to the comments and telling me about how Rickson beat up the Japanese fighters, relax. This is a praise to Rickson, in my opinion, because the foundation, as much as people think that it is just the ground floor and what's underneath it, the foundation reaches the roof. The foundation will always be there. You can change the elevations, you can change the facade, the interior walls, glass, marble, etc. You know, kind of like the trends that come and go, but at the end of the day, the foundation will always be there. And in my opinion, Rickson's Jiu-Jitsu is a continuation of what Oda did, and we're gonna see several examples of the footage of Oda and of course Rickson's work, and see why both perfected the foundations. And again, this video is a praise to Rickson, and it is the continuation of the foundation of judo that was laid out by Oda Sensei. So again, Rickson is one of my favorite Gracie fighters, and you know this. So first, let's start with guard pass. So to see the Rickson classical guard pass is the following. You actually get up, try to put pressure with your hands, keep a strong base. This is the foundation of invisible jiu-jitsu: base, weight distribution, and of course leverage. So here he has a strong base. He starts to rip at the guard and pulls his butt back to open it up, and from there he underhooks while pinning the other leg with his elbow to of course avoid a triangle, and from there grabs the lapel, shifts his weight to the side, drops, grabs what is the extremity of the jacket or the pants, and from there proceeds to shift his weight to the side, eventually getting the pass. So when it comes to Oda, he performed several passes, like here your classical Toreyando, neon belly, from there knee slice, and here notice he pulls back, gets back up, strong base, look at his legs, underhooks, grabs the opposite lapel as he was doing, blocks with his elbow the other leg, shifts his weight to the side, drops low, and from there proceeds to shift his weight or his hips close to the head of Uke, getting eventually the pass. So now let's talk about leverage and weight distribution. This is crucial even by today's judo standards. So this is the side headlock escape. I've never seen anyone do it or rarely done in judo even today. So here he explains that you actually go to them, get your hips sideways, not completely pinned to the floor. So here he says his arm is stuck, he cannot get it out, so he can push against the head and does the classical escape. So here he goes to the side, gets his hips elevated, he's on his side completely, and then bridges as he is on the side, and from there he can roll them easily over. So this is a brilliant demonstration of weight distribution and of course leverage. Here, as he is rolling to his side, Pedro is defenseless. So this is, let's see it here again. Pedro is pinning him and he hugs and goes to the side. You need that swing to get that weight off of your hips and get them to the side, and you should keep your legs apart, and from there you bridge sideways and you roll. So here, let's see it from this angle so you can understand it better. So you need that swing. You cannot just roll like this because they're much stronger than you. So you get that swing, you go to the side. Notice how he pins his legs and pivots or bridges, as he is on his side, and gets to the other side and then gets that leverage. So here you have to be on your side as you are hugging them, not roll them like this over you. You actually need to roll them in front of you. So that's why the bridging happens. So you roll here. It explains that you have to use your legs to get the bridge as you are on your side. You don't roll them directly to your side. You actually get them above you and almost like behind you in a sense, and from there you roll them over. So this is a great lesson in weight distribution and of course leverage. So here, let's see how Oda is demonstrating these basics. Of course, and also opening up the legs so you can actually get a good shift and good base. He mastered these types of I would say turnovers from the bottom. This one here, in my opinion, is my favorite, the Kuzure Kezagatame. Look at how he shifts his legs, shifts his hips, and from there he gets the leverage correct so he can get up and reverse the pin. So you have weight distribution and of course leverage following them. This is the same principles being applied by Oda Sensei. Notice here the tilt of the neck and how it was crucial because you needed to roll diagonally, because once you roll diagonally it is very difficult for them to defend your roll or post their arm or anything, and from there you get much stronger leverage to get them rolling. Let's talk about that. Let's see that tilt of the head, but with Rickson this time. Here he explains that when you tilt the head when doing a mount escape, you actually roll diagonally and not directly to your side, and thus a posting of the arm, a defense against that what he calls upa becomes very difficult. So here the tilt is the invisible detail. So here he posts his arm and yet he cannot defend it and gets rolled over. This is a similar tilt of the neck that you saw Oda doing just a few seconds ago before shifting his whole body around it. So again, this is a continuation of what Oda Sensei did, and in my opinion it is beautiful. Perfecting the foundation will always be great. So now let's talk about invisible setups. The first one here, or there are not many actually, but this one here, the cross choke from the side, is great. Normally the cross choke, it is seen or shown from closed guard or mount, but here he is turning into north-south. He says that when they hug you, you actually get underneath their arm, like underhooking it and getting the lapel, and when you turn to the other side it is actually pinned. So here they lost that arm, and from there you can easily do like a kind of like a katate jime type of choke, but you have the lapel held from the neck down. So here he explained that you are here, you have the arm isolated, and from there you can do like a katate jime, but it's a cross choke from the side because you have the lapel underneath and you get the tap. So this is a invisible setup from side control. As you are hovering over them, they cannot see it obviously, and you can isolate the arm. So Oda did many of them, like the side entry of the triangle, this one here I'll show you in a bit, and the kanto choke from the side, of course I'll show it to you. So here he explains the many defenses, but we'll skip it. So like I said, the cross choke, you basically learn it like this or from the guard, but from the side you can set up so many things, like this one here, the kanto choke, as you raise your leg, and here he underhooks the arm and slice, gets the lapel, uses his wrist to flick the chin up, and from there he gets the choke. Notice how the arm is isolated. You can see it from the far behind Oda's back actually, and here he gets the tap. Now when it comes to Rickson, in my opinion this is a plus, and he says that if you don't know self-defense, you don't know jiu-jitsu, and I'm very glad that he is still very militant towards self-defense and the teachings of self-defense, and not just sports, jiu-jitsu, IBJJF, IJF, the Olympics, etc. How effective is self-defense teaching? I truly don't know. I've never trained with them, or the Valente brothers, or any of these people who are very keen on self-defense, but the same principles are still applied: base, weight distribution, leverage, etc. So again, this is a plus for Rickson, especially in today's age, because Oda's days it was completely the opposite, and I'll explain it. So back in the Oda days, Oda did not concern himself with this aspect, because keep in mind, he was very active, or he was leader in the Newaza movement, I'd say 1910s, 20s, 30s, and back then IJF, Olympics, all these things just wasn't there. Competition obviously was there, but a lot of these dojos and schools were still teaching kata and self-defense. So he was mainly concerned with collecting all of the medals in these schools, and I believe his team that he coached reigned supreme 7 years if I'm not mistaken. So he did pull guard, he did barely engage in tachiwaza, the group fighting kumite, and took the fight to the ground often, and that was his strategy, and it was a brilliant strategy, and through it he crafted this newaza that we have today, that it is still very much efficient. And a lot of judokas today, when they get pain, they just give up. All these turnovers that he's doing can still be very much useful today and be taught today. So again, like I said, this video is a praise to Rickson for continuing this type of conceptual work, I would say, or this type of training, this type of work, this focus on this particular aspects that will always make you a champion regardless of the times. Keep in mind, the foundation will always be there, but everything else, like the glass facade, the marble walls, the glass ceiling, whatever, they will come and go, just like the berimbolo, lapel guard, leg lock trends come and go, but the foundation will always be there. So if you have anything else to add, let me know down below. Also, consider supporting me on Patreon. I have exclusive content for the patrons only. I post there once a week, but my main content will always be here. So don't feel obliged, but your support would mean greatly. This was Shadi, and thank you for listening.